Well, good morning. I'm working on the second floor wall. Or actually, I guess it's technically the first floor. I don't know what you want to call it. It's the main living floor. I'm finally working on the walls. This oak post here that's on the sawhorses is the post that's going down in the center of the building that's going to support the truss. And I'm going to plane 3 sides of it. I think that'll work out fine. This is all stuff for the truss. It all has to be planed and oiled and then eventually assembled. But I think I'm going to get 3 of the 4 walls, or maybe even 4 walls, or basically 3 exterior walls and part of the wall that goes along here. I think I'm going to get those assembled first and then assemble the truss inside of this space. So I've got 2x6s up here. I don't have enough of them. I've got to get plate material. But the big dilemma is how high to make the walls, because basically we're going to have a wall with a 6x8 plate that runs all the way around, and then the truss and the roof system, which is going to be all visible, is going to be the structural part of it will all be visible. That's going to sit on top of that. I'd like to get it high enough but not too high, and I don't know what the magic number is. So the walls on the rest of the back half of the building, those are all going to be dictated by the front half of the building because of the way the roof framing system works. So I've got to build this first, get the truss in place, get all the roof in place, get it sheathed, and then that will dictate the height of these back walls. So it's if we were just doing standard walls and putting trusses up, we could have this thing sheathed in a week. But I'm sure it will be worth it in the end. It's a lot more work doing it this way, but that's all right. I mean, this is why I took on this project. So I'm planing up the posts for the center, and I've got to go pick out a bunch of 8x8s, 8-footers hopefully, for around. There'll be posts in the corner and such. So I'll film some stuff, film me planing. I guess we're going to do that right now, planing this 8x8, and then I've got to go sort materials out of that mess down there for posts and top plates. So bear with me. All right, well, this is the post that's going to support the truss, and this tenon at the top, which is kind of offset, is 8 inches tall. And so the plate, there's a 6x8 plate that wraps around the whole room, and that's going to slide over this, and 2 inches of it will stick out through the top, and the bottom cord of the truss will fit over that, which will help hold the truss in place, the bottom cord of the truss. So this piece is not all set yet, because I still am going to put some braces that go, anyway, there's going to be some braces mortised into it, and I've got to make up the bottom plate for that before I can tip it up and stand it in place. So the work doesn't end. There's lots more. I don't know, maybe I filmed something you can't even see. Anyway, there's the tenon. That's the top of the post. All right, this is the bottom plate, which is going underneath this post, and those are the braces on either side. So I am going to start fabricating all of this stuff, and probably going to go up tomorrow. Because once this is all stood up, I can put the 2 corner posts in, which are 8x8. Then I can frame in the wall in between, and then I can put the 6x8 plate on top of the whole thing. And that wall will, then it needs to be sheathed, and that wall is basically ready for the truss. And so that's the plan, to start measuring this stuff out and cutting it to size. So I'm going to do some measuring and marking, then I'll film some of this. So I just laid out, this is the bottom plate, this is the inside of the building. I just laid out a 2.5 inch mortise that post, the bottom of it has a 2.5 inch by 2 inch long tenon, which will sit in here. And then I'll have to figure out the braces, the brace locations, and do some mortising. It's like magic, just appears. A giant hole, exactly where I wanted it, 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. So let's see if I can get the, hopefully you can see that. Hopefully I can get the 2 mortises for the braces to magically appear. Hold on, it might happen. Like magic. We now have a mortise there, and this one down here. So I'm going to do the exact same thing in the sides of that 8x8, and then as you can see, I've got this laid out. This is the end of the tenon for the wind brace, and I'll get that cut probably not till tomorrow. Alright, well there's the tenons on the, there are 2 of the 4 tenons done. Now the tricky part is to figure out the exact length so that it fits between those 2 mortises. So I'm going to work on that off camera, and I'll cut the other ends, and then we'll do a trial fit. Actually, we're not going to do a trial fit. We're going to actually screw it together and then get the excavator over here to lift it up, because it's way too heavy for me. Well, the bottom plate has actually got a little bow to it, so I'm going to make these braces a little bit longer. So what I'm doing is just using a stick to measure one side and measure the other side. I'll split the difference and it should be perfect. No numbers involved or anything, so don't have to worry about 16ths or 8ths or 32nds. So basically line up the bottom. You can see down there, lining this up here and the top mark up there, and doing the same on the other side. So since the bottom plate has got a little bit of a bow to it, and I'll be able to straighten that out with screws once it's in place, I'm actually going to make these braces a little bit long to help squish that down. It's all very technical. Alright, there you have it, the mystery solved. Alright, it's plumb. Still not sitting perfectly down on the bottom. And I got to do some work to that, something. Of course, it has no weight on it. No weight will help squish that down. So the debate is to not worry about that, and when the weight of the truss and everything and the roof gets set on it, maybe that will squish it down that last little bit. Hard to tell. Anyways, I think I'm going to leave it there and actually screw the bottom in place, and then work on the posts that go in the corners next. So, alright, that's the last. I'm not taking that thing down again. 16-footer, plain 4 sides, and it's going to be cut in half and be the corner post. Alright, that's it for today. We're all done with second cut haying, so I can't be distracted by that anymore. And I didn't get everything done I was hoped to today, but I did get these 3 posts in place, which is huge because tomorrow I can easily get this framed in. Alright, there's that section of the wall. As you see, I can't lift the whole, I can't do the wall on the ground and tip it up. I have to do it in pieces. We're going to work on this wall over here next with the entry door. That's the next one after I get this nailed off. And that one I'm going to try to put plywood on before I lift it. Alright, here's the upstairs view. Sorry about the camera. Here's the upstairs view. You can see there's going to be a top plate running across there, and it'll go, that tenon will poke through. So there'll be a 6x8 plate that runs across, and I'm going to have to scarf it, and I'm probably going to scarf it and glue it with the Gorilla Glue so it looks like one continuous plate. The ones that go on this side are 20 footers, and I have those, so I want that to look like a continuous plate.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome.
All right, so there's that corner done. I got the sheathing on here to give that some structural integrity. And when the plates go on, that'll all tie in nicely. Starting on this wall, there we go. Starting on this wall here, and it's going to have this exact same 3 windows on that side bumped over here, and that'll be our view that way, and the view is mimicked over there. That's all couches, and we still don't know about windows up in this section. You see the big orange crane works again. The Hitachi lifted that wall, was great. It was just enough reach to lift it up, so it was way too heavy for me to lift. And this one will be the same thing. I'll park the machine over there and lift this one up. It'll be easy. All right, I got all the studs. I got all the studs nailed in. You can see that there aren't any jacks. I talked about this in another video, but there aren't any jacks under these, and there aren't any official headers in here. And that's because these are actually, these, and actually all of these things that look like studs are actually, they're all jacks, because they all there's going to be a 6x8 beam that runs all the way around, and that's going to be the official header. It's going to sit on top of all of this stuff, so there's no need for another header underneath the existing header. So there'll be a 6x8 up there, which the inspector has a hard time with that spanning 31 inches. I don't know what to say. So anyway, so these are really not studs. They're actually all jacks. Because there's a continuous header that runs all the way around. So we've got I've got this bottom plate. I don't know, you probably can't see it. It's right nailed on the snapped red line. So that's all set. Now I just need to pull corner to corner measurements, and I can check to see All right, one interior wall. That wall is there, so I have something to put the two other oak posts and header butt up against something that's plumb. It's actually going to get sheathed with plywood and become a shear wall to help hold the building together this way until the roof structure gets in place. So that's why it's diagonally braced and it's squared up ahead of time. So I'm going to nail it in place. And that's the end of the day for me. I got to go shuffle a bunch of wood around to get ready for tomorrow. And I've got a bunch of oak flooring it's been so dry. I want to get it down to the shop and cover it up before it gets wet again. So I've got that to do this evening. So the work doesn't end. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Good morning. It's time to put some of the 6x8s on the top of these walls. So that's what we're doing, right? That's what I'm doing right now. Alright, well those are the two longest ones. Those are 20 footers. I've got to, they're not cut to length because I wanted to just get them up there, fasten them in place, and I can cut them afterwards more accurately than cutting them on the ground. So, well, I've got a bunch of these cuts to make in the ends of these 6x8s, and I have a couple options. The first one, I use the medium saw to cut through most of it because it's easy to handle. Now I could finish it off with a handsaw. I could finish it off with a chainsaw, but the chainsaw also leaves, it spews bar and chain oil everywhere, and we'd get that all over all these finished timbers. Or I can get this thing out, something I very rarely use because it's ungainly and it has such a small base on it. It's quite hard to control. So, but this will do it in one pass, so that's what we're going to do. All right, here we go. Anyway, it does a pretty good job if you have some previous cut for it to follow. I'm just going to get a handsaw, clean that up, or maybe a chisel. And I've got to do that on all the ends of these 6x8s to get ready for the piece that comes this direction. All right, stay tuned. Oh, look at that. We just caught it. The wind caught it. That actually is the top plate for up here. And I had a big dilemma of how big to make the braces. Because I have room to make them the same size, but after thinking about it, it's aesthetically wrong. Because as you go up, it should get smaller. So those are 4 feet on the on not the hypotenuse, but 4 feet out from here. And so the ones up top are going to be 3 feet. They're going to be a little bit smaller. They'll be plenty strong enough to resist the truss from moving until the rafters get in place, and of course they'll be visual too. But so that's just some of the things, you know, me standing here scratching my head. What's going to look nice? What's appropriate? Stuff that doesn't get put on film. So, anyways, going back to it, I got to get that thing in place. All right, you can see what we got going on up there. I spent some time scarfing those. I'm going to glue them together with Gorilla Glue. And I got that one over there to do. I actually put this piece up there and realized I put it on the wrong side. I should have done the scarf the other direction, but oh well. What are you going to do? So, let's put some glue on this thing. Some water. It says you got to wet one side. Put it on the other side. If you ever use this stuff, do your best to not get it on your fingers, because it does not come off. And it says you don't need a lot, and that's true. You don't need a lot. See what happens. Now, polyurethane glue is not a gap-filling glue. If you read the instructions, it says it's not a gap-filling glue. So I tried to get that pretty close, and I can sand it afterwards. But I think that's I'm pretty happy with that. This is the only face you're gonna ever see. So I'm gonna screw it together, top and bottom, and move on to the other end. Alright, I'm working on the support structure for the other end of the truss, and this is the header. It's an 8x10 solid piece of red oak, and I kind of wanted to do a before and after planing it. Actually, this side looked horrible. I planed that one, but so this is what this side looks like. It actually looks pretty good. There's the after shot. Whoops. There's the after shot. Planes up pretty nice. That's going to look really nice. That's going to be seen inside the house. And I have to say that this planer, which I really debated on buying because it was very expensive. I did have a job that helped justify buying it. And now I have it. And I mean, I couldn't do this. I couldn't run these things through my other planer in the shop. So it's amazing. I am just, what a great tool. Oh, I should have filmed putting the sheathing on out here this morning. It was quite a scene. I did it all myself. And you can see, whoop, oh, hold on. You can see it's pretty high. I was actually able to put the tractor bucket out here and work off of that and get that all nailed in place. Mainly, two reasons. Had to go up there. Adds shear strength to that wall, but it also gives Kristen and I an idea of what the window and wall configuration is going to be. And we decided, originally we thought we needed windows here, but we have decided that we're going to leave some wall space to put plants and artwork and something decorative there. So we've got 6 windows there and 6 windows over there. I think it's going to be enough. But the other thing I wanted to talk about is that all of this is going to be seen. So I had to, when you're working with these timbers, you've got to decide which is the side you want looking out. Now this is really nice, except we'll be looking at this bark, and I don't want to look at that. So I chose this side over here. There's really only 2 choices, but it all matters. And you can see I stopped planing because that's all going to get cut out over there. I don't care about that. So this is just the top, and I just did a couple light passes on it just so that I can easily mark it out. But all of that stuff comes into play when you're working with timber. What's the best side? What has any defects? What grain do you like? Whether it's crowned or bowed. So this is anyway. This is what I came up with. And after setting this on here, I'm so glad I made these heavy-duty sawhorses. They just don't even seem to grunt when you drop something like this on top of there. So I still haven't figured out how I'm going to get this on top of the oak posts in place, but it'll probably be good old brawn, not brains. All right, I'll film some more after I get some cutting this is the underside of the beam here, underside of the header. You can see the post will sit on either side. So I've got to mortise these out and flip it back over and glue in the tenon in the top, and the header is ready to go in. The shear wall, both of these, both that one and this one, and they're in here to give lateral stability, especially to this truss, to these posts and headers, and until the truss and roof system goes on. These are inherently unstable, and truss weighs so much I don't want to take any precautions. So this also acts as a double duty because I'm going to put the fancy paneling on this wall, and this gives me solid nailing, or gives me nailing everywhere, so I don't have to put blocking in and wonder. I don't have to design what's going to go on here now. I can do all that later because I know I've got something to nail to behind it. So it's doing a double duty. So I'm going to take off these couple of braces and then go eat lunch, and then go clean horse stalls, because that's what you do when you own horses. All right, stay tuned.